Well, folks, welcome to McFarland's Corner. I'm Michael McFarland, host of McFarland's Corner, bringing you a very special show tonight. McFarland's Corner entitles a lot of different things. Those of you that have been following, and those of you that haven't, we usually start with the journal. So since we've started doing a daily rundown, which in essence is a journal, what I'm going to do from now on in the journal is give you a little bit more detail in that rundown. Okay, so y'all know that we've been throwing top waters. Y'all know that we've been throwing underspins. We've been throwing the finesse Carolina rig, and we are now, no doubt, into the Santone football jig. But let's tell you a little more detail about those. So the first thing is, let's go ahead and start with the top water. There's still a great shad spawn happening on the lake, and when you get out there on that water, man, there's kind of no funner way to catch them than on top. All right, I've talked about the shower blows, which is a walking bait. I tend to throw that during the gizzard shad spawn, and now we have a threadfin shad spawn going on. It's a smaller shad, so it's really hard to beat the yellow magic. We've talked about that already. I showed it to you this week, but now I want to talk about a couple presentations. Presentations with the top water are really critical. First of all, any of you are familiar with walking a frog? If you know how to walk a frog, then you can walk a popper. If you're struggling with walking that popper, what I want you to do is learn the king sling knot or a loop knot. A loop knot is a dangerous knot for me. It can have some weak points. The king sling knot is made for the ocean, and it's a very powerful knot. The king sling knot works really well with a popper, Magic Popper Rico, and it'll really kind of give you that loop that you need in front for the extra walking action. But I found this week that the two presentations that are really important with that top water are, number one, walk it like a frog. Number two, when you pop it, if you actually will have it be tight lined, when you get that, go to pop it, don't make it plunge, don't make it make glorp sounds. Make longer zips so that the bait itself zips an inch or two and spits. And I found that spitting, it can really be all the difference in the world. The final thing on that top water is pay attention to a cadence. So whether you are walking it or popping and spitting, it may be a pop, pop, or a pop, 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 or it may be a walk, 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 walk. You want to find a cadence, a 1, 2, 1, 2, or a 1, 1, 1, or a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. See, that's a cadence. So once you get a strike on a particular cadence, you want to throw that cadence, particularly the rest of that morning. Once that shad spawn goes down, the sun starts to shine, get off that top water. Typically, I had a client ask me, if you really got a good top water bite in the morning, how long will you keep throwing that once the bite lulls? For me, 15 to 20 minutes, maybe a half an hour. You'll know when they don't want that top water no more. And all that's happening is that sun's starting to get high and that the shad are starting to back out possibly, but the bass are pulling back out. They're not willing to hit the surface any longer. That's when I jump right in to the underspin. Okay? The underspin, right now, this is a large underspin because I was trying to slow roll this through some of the deeper shell beds. And on Friday, those, with the overcast and everything, those fish rose off of the deep shell beds and they were suspending in the upper water column. So we were throwing the underspin, the flashy underspin with a big bait on it. But here's the deal with that. Same thing. There's going to be a pace. It's not quite a cadence, but there's going to be a pace, all right? If you're fishing a shad spawn, you may want to start out real fast. You may want to start out literally where that bait is burning and ripping the surface, riffling the surface. Slow it down, bring it down under the water column just a little bit. And sometimes on these shallow shell beds, I even slow it down where I feel it just ticking the bottom, and then I'll pick it back up. So 3 different paces: real fast surface, maybe a subsurface just a foot or two on the shad spawn, and then sometimes ticking the bottom. All right, the best bait, the most successful bait, I know we talked about it a lot, everybody's seen it a lot, but that's my finesse Carolina rig. This is going to be the bait of the week. Once again, the impact shad. Every single day I can depend on that bait to catch me my fish, okay? Some guys have been on the boat and said, well, why don't we just throw it weightless, Mike? Most of the time, we got enough wind where by throwing it weightless, we're not going to be able to fish it as efficiently. The wind's going to pull some bow in our line, which is going to make the bait go to the wrong direction in that bow. The waves are crashing, so the bait doesn't have its best presentation. But what I want you to focus on is when I'm running the Carolina rig and a fish, all right, I think of it as a jerkbait, okay? What this allows me to do is fish it even faster than I could a weightless jerkbait. It allows me to keep that bait under the water column, and I can actually really work that bait aggressively, especially in those wind-blown points where you can't work a weightless fluke. The real important tip, the most important tip, is when you're fishing a weightless fluke, you tend to be very gentle. You twitch it, and then you go try and find it, like a weightless Senko, a wacky worm. You don't just pull. And that's the nature. It's so light that it forces us to kind of, man, where is it? Where is it? We look for it first. Okay, there it is. No one's there. Twitch, twitch. I want you to do the same thing with this Finesse Carolina rig, okay? So we're going to throw it up on the point. We're going to lay tight line. We're going to say snap, snap. We're going to go find that taut line, and we're going to try and ease into it. All right, if it's a worm, creature bait, and everything, I drag it. It's a fish. I do not drag it. I'm simply checking for pressure. Most of the bites this week have been like a wet sock. So we've gone smack, smack. The fish has eaten that bait as it free falls. We missed that strike. No one's going to feel that strike on the Carolina rig. You've got to go detect that the fish is on there. So the most important part of this Finesse Carolina rig is checking the bait. You don't need to slide it a whole lot. You go to check it, you feel that weight slide once or twice, you're good. There's no fish there, snap, snap again. All right, this is going to bring me to the tip of the week already. Normal Carolina rig, we're going to run a weight, a bead, and a swivel, two-way swivel. All right, when I'm snapping this bait so much, I don't know if the camera is going to really show you, but the butt end of this weight is taking a beating. This one's really mashed up, okay? Because we're snapping it so aggressively, I highly suggest that you put yourself a bead right there to protect the knot, and you check this all the time, okay? And I mean every 10 casts. That snap, snap is very abusive right here in this area, okay? It's very important to have a snap, snap to get bit, but that's the tip of the week. Put you a bobber stopper on there to protect that knot, and you won't lose fish. All right, my favorite. I told you they're going to eat it. I promised you they're going to eat it, and man, did they start eating it, all right? The Santone football jig. Santone football jig. I'm throwing this thing, first of all, I'm going to tell you what I'm throwing it on. I'm throwing it on the new McFarland series right here. I'm very proud to introduce this rod to you. This is a real-time rod, Bushido blank. It's an FS 7'8", I believe, a 7'8", 1225. I should know it's my own signature rod. 3/8 to 2 ounce. It's got the McFarland signature grips on it. This thing will float if you ever kick it overboard. It will not sink, reel and all. It will not sink. It'll float, okay? So you won't ever lose the rod. And I'm telling you, last week we had 9 bites in one day, all big fish, and this rod can do the job. All right, this is my favorite rod, but let's talk about the Santone football jig and how we're actually using it. So I like to drag uphill. I love Texas. Back home in the rocks, boy, you didn't get to. It was few and far between that we could drag uphill. The rocks really made too much trouble. Here it's shell beds and softer bottoms, and so I'm looking to feel that crunch of the shell bed, okay? I've shown you some jigs before that we're working those shell beds so specifically that we're wearing the paint off that Santone head, and that's hard to do. It's baked on. That's really hard to do. The reason I drag uphill is you have excellent contact. You have excellent contact with the bottom. You have excellent contact as a fisherman to the jig, and it allows us to really focus when we find those shells. When you throw it out there and it's just mush, 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 keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. All of a sudden you find that part of that shell bed. It may be the size of a basketball court, half court, and you feel it clunk, clunk, and starting to really have that grungy, ka-junk, ka-junk, ka-junk. Slow down. When you're dragging uphill, it makes it really easy to find that. The dragging uphill part is my biggest tip of the Santone football jig I like for. You can catch them other ways, and there's times that I will pull out and throw it the opposite way or a different angle. Aside from boat setup, the position and the angle, by dragging uphill, you can really conquer a whole lot. So that is the journal, guys. We've had a great week. If you watch the daily rundown, then you kind of know the results. Monday, Tuesday, quite tough and quite slow. They just weren't ready for the jig. We did catch fish every day during the shad spawn. But once they got on that jig, the size changed, all right? Saw a lot of beautiful fish in this weekend's Legend tournament. And every time that someone would bring an 8 or 9 to the scales, I just sat there and I thought, that is so awesome to see these locals and these pro-ams and these amateurs catching these big fish. And one of the times I actually chuckled and I thought, wow, we had 9 of those in one day. It's crazy. That is the Goat Lake Fork. There were 25 overs brought in over this weekend. There's going to be all kinds of guides this week catching those big fish more than one at a time. So we pulled up on one spot, and on the afternoon, was it Thursday, I believe, and had a birthday father, and the first 3 casts were giant fish. So no other place in the world you're going to get this bite except for one. And with that, I'm going to close the journal, and I'm going to get into this big announcement that we've got. There'll be no topic tonight because I want to really focus on this announcement. First off, I want to introduce a very, very good friend of mine. He's a Christian. He is an awesome bass fisherman. He's a Lake Fork fishing guide. He comes from South Texas, but he actually does some awesome deer hunts and turkey hunts in Illinois with Illinois Trophy Bow Hunters. Man, guys, I really want you to give it up, give some respect for my great friend, Mr. Wes Graham. So first thing is we got a special guest.
Thank you, Mike.
Good to see you, man. So you clean up nice.
Hey, thank you.
Every time I see you as a fisherman, I'm like, he just looks just like me. And then he gets cleaned up. I'm like, no wonder he's got a wife. No wonder I don't ever clean up. I don't ever clean up. But how you doing, man?
Man, things are going pretty good. Kind of excited about this announcement you're fixing to give.
I'm stoked. We're gonna make them watch. We're gonna talk a little bit about you. And,
okay.
And I know you came from South Texas. I know we don't want to talk about oil, but I know you spent a lot of time down there because you used to own an oil service, and man, you had big times rolling and big money. And when you were down there, you were fishing a whole lot.
Yeah, I really started guiding down there in South Texas. Fished a lot of Lake Falcon, Choke Canyon, Lake Amistad, and
so you're real familiar with the South.
Real familiar with the South.
That's great. Now, but you go as far as Illinois to hunt. I mean, that's a long ways away.
I've learned that as a guide, sometimes you need to diversify yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about,
I do.
Don't you?
That's exactly why I chose Texas. So for me to make a guide service on the West Coast, I would have had to guide in about 4 different places. I would have had to do spring on some bass lakes. I would have had to go for the trout in the mountains somewhere in the summer, either, high country California or New Mexico or even farther, Wyoming, Montana. And I love that. I was an dorsal fly instructor. Someday, just for fun, I may go do some of that. But, I really didn't want to. I wanted to be home.
Right.
And be able to, guide on like Fork. We can guide here at least 9 months out of the year.
At least that.
At least 9, which is really cool. But so you go to Illinois and you do these awesome trophy.
Yeah, we do bow hunts up there for 3 weeks.
Okay.
And then we do a 3-day gun hunt at the end of the bow season. After that, it's shut off. It's all low fence. We kill 200-inch deer up there.
200. I've seen some of the pictures.
Yeah.
And aside from what they take down here on the ranches, these are some big deer, and this is the real way. Low fence.
Yeah,
this ain't pinned up. And I mean, I'm not knocking the pinned up deer, but this is the real deal. These are the fat corn-fed.
It is. I mean, deer hunting up there is so much different than hunting down here in Texas.
So it's not even so much about the rack in some cases. Some of these deer I've seen are giant. I mean, we're talking 282 or more bodies. Big deer.
Absolutely.
That's really cool.
And the time that we put in stands up there and studying these deer, and figuring out how to get somebody a chance of a lifetime of a trophy.
Sure. And I tell you what, I've been following you the past few years, and you do it well. I know the outfit up there does it well, and I've seen your success, and I think you can do some turkey hunts that way.
Yep, done some turkey hunts.
So what that tells me about you is you're pretty rounded, buddy. Pretty rounded.
Well, my wife says I'm pretty rounded too, though.
Well, you make me look small. All these Texas boys make me look small. Back home on the West Coast, I'm not a big man, but back home I didn't look quite as small. Everybody in Texas is a big one, even the bass.
Yeah.
You know what? So here's the exciting thing is I too come from the South quite a bit. People don't know that. I've been to Lake Backrack 12 times. I've been to El Salto 4 times, Weak Test twice, Las Mochas twice, and what they call Obregon or Oyachi over 100 times. And I grew up in Arizona and California. I'm real familiar with them desert lakes. I got to go visit Lake Falcon last February.
Did you?
I did. And I was third wheeled. I was put in the back, and I was like a dummy. Nobody asked me for no advice, but let me tell you what. All them escarpments, all them things that were there were talking to me. And trust me, when you've been doing it enough, we have intuitions.
Yes.
And I had 100 intuitions in 3 days. It got me so excited that Should we tell them?
I think we're going to have to.
Should we tell them? Guess what, folks? Wes and I have teamed up, and for the month of July and the month of August, we are going to bring you Lake Falcon, folks. All right, I got a gorgeous, gorgeous duplex, waterfront duplex that we put you up in, and you'll pay no more than you would for a regular motel. All right, we're going to be right there on standby in the house. We can take care of you and keep an eye on you when you're in that place. It's safe, I promise you. We wouldn't be doing this, okay?
It is safe.
But we are going to offer full day trips, multi-day only. Once we're down in position, we might take a phone call or two for fillers, but I prefer 2 to 3 day or more. But again, we've got your lodging, waterfront. We've got first class guides. He grew up down there. He knows that lake. He's fished bass champs. He's back. I think you've done some placement in top 5
Oh, yeah.
or 1.
Yeah, we won some money down there. Definitely.
And here's something you don't know. I got 50, that's right, 50 plus waypoints of all of the deep water structure rock piles.
Oh, man.
Yes, sir. When that lake was down, the last time it was at its peak, I'm not going to tell you how I obtained them, but I've got more than 50 waypoints of all them rock piles, and that's what we're going to be fishing.
Those waypoints are worth their weight in gold.
That's right. That's right. We're going to be fishing mostly jigs, so we're going to get on a June Terror Santone jig bite right here on Lake Fork, and then we're going to pack it up and go down south, and that Santone jig is going to keep on producing all the way through June, and I bet into August.
Yeah,
so
we got definitely.
the big announcement, folks, is I first of all would like to see some thumbs up, some response, what you guys think about it before we actually start to sell it. I want to make sure you guys are going to want this. I'm going to tell you what, they're crazy if they don't.
I'm excited about it.
They're crazy if they don't.
Yeah.
Here's the deal. All right, it's a river. It's the Rio Grande. Yes, it's hot. But my philosophy is this, and you'll laugh at this. When you're cold in a tree stand, you're cold. When the deer comes in, you ain't cold no more.
You're not.
So if you're down there hot, if you're on Fork in July and August and you're hot and you ain't catching them, it's hot.
Yep.
It's just as hot down south, but you catch them. All right, because that's a river and that water's moving through that river like that makes all the difference in the world. Those fish set up on those escarpments, they set up on those rock piles, and they eat all day long. It is no joke to have 50 to 100 fish days.
That's right.
That's right. Now, a lot of them are going to be 2 to 4 pound fish with the occasional big fish. It's hot. Sometimes those big fish in the heat of summer, they're very evasive. They got kind of go dormant. Lake Mead, for example. Lake Mead in the fall, spring can produce a pretty good sack, 16, 20 pound sack. Fish it in July, you'll have a hard time breaking 10, 12 pounds. Yeah. But the numbers are good. So guys, that is the big announcement. I sure hope that some of you take some really good excitement in this. It should be and probably will be some of the most world-class fishing that you've seen McFarland Fishing put out. It's hard to beat Texas, but we're going to go down there and slam the numbers on Lake Falcon, July and August. That's pretty cool.
Sounds great to me, man.
You got anything to tell them about any?
Well, I was just down there last week.
Were you?
Yeah, I did a trip last week, and we caught the numbers.
Caught the numbers.
Yeah, we caught the numbers. We had some big fish come unbuttoned. You know how that goes.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys come out. You got to teach them how to handle those fish when they're bringing them in.
Absolutely. Now, those are some deeper water fish, too. Yes. So, potentially, we're going to have to fizz some of these fish. Things are quite different than we're fishing here on Fork. I'm not friends. I'd like to say I'm friends on Facebook with John Adami. And, man, he is an awesome guide down there.
He can catch some fish.
He can catch some fish. He's a great teacher. From what I understand, all the people love being with him. I hope when we get down there that we get to shake that man's hand and spend a little time with him and of course, respect everything he's doing while we're there, but hopefully fit in just fine. Oh, yeah. I think there's room. So a couple quick things, guys. Lake Falcon, it is an irrigation lake. And there are just tentatively put this in your book, there potentially could be some reason that we would have to pull out, maybe late August trips and things like that. The lake can get pulled to a level that you really can't launch a boat without four-wheel drive. And at that point, it starts to become hazardous and dangerous, and we would never put you at that risk. Couple of quick things. I'm sure you'll back me up on this. If you're nervous about being down there, don't be. All right. Man, there is so much more police and border security there than we're more dangerous right here where we are than down there.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. I've fished in Mexico so much of my life. If you respect them, mind your own business, stay out of trouble. All right. That means you don't go to the bars, you don't go to the strip joints, and you don't cross the Mexico border at the end of your fishing day. You're not going to get in trouble. All right. It's those that go looking for trouble that cause trouble. respect the fishermen. You're going to see a lot of Mexicans out there fishing with their nets. Leave them be. Stay out of those areas. At the very least, if you're going to fish in those areas, be very aware of those nets and don't affect with their hard work and they're trying to do, because they're just trying to feed their families.
Yeah.
If you do that, man, I've been literally down in Mexico. They nicknamed me Maguey.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you the story. I was down there. I was a young boy. I was about 17 years old. My dad brought my older brother with us, and they started calling me Maguey. Well, we've been there a lot, and of course my brother's teasing me. He says, they think you're gay. They think you're gay. You know, and I get livid. I'm like, all right, if we're customers, if they're making fun of me, I need to know.
Sure.
So I get my father, and he calls the owner over. He tells the owner, my father, by the way, speaks 5 different languages, and he don't know what maguey means because it's slang.
Right.
My dad knows Spanish. And so he gets the owner, and he brings him over, and he says, look, my son is very upset. My son thinks that all your folks are making fun of him. Even the housekeep, the cooks, everybody's saying, you okay, maguey? Good morning, maguey. Good evening, maguey. You know, what is maguey? And the owner looked right at me. And he said, Michael, come with me. And we go outside, and I'm frustrated already because I think everybody's making fun of me. And we walk out the front, and he says, Michael, take a look around, and what do you see? Ground. I don't know, man. Some weird cacti trees. What are they? He said, that's right. That's the agave tree. Big, long, tall tree. Maguey. Big, tall tree. Michael, they've made a nickname for you. They love you down here.
Yeah.
They're calling you Maguey because they love you. If you'd like, I can tell them to stop. And I said, no, sir. So probably the next 20 years of my life anyways, every time I go down there, I couldn't get out of the van. And everybody say, Maguey aquí, Maguey aquí. That means Maguey is here. So, Mexico is a great place to be. I'm really looking forward to it. I can't speak on his behalf, but I'm sure he's going to be just as me. We are going to go to the Mexico side, folks. So if you're scared of it, I wouldn't force you. We're going to be safe on the American side, but we will take you to the Mexico side for some of the greatest summer bass fishing you've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Wes?
Hey, man.
I really appreciate that. Guys, we're going to bring you a bunch more on this. We're going to post up some pictures of the home, the duplex where you would stay. We'll probably start talking about some different things and details in the next week as we put this out for sale. What I would like to ask you, aside from thanking you for watching the show and any comments you have about tonight's show, I just want some feedback. If you guys think this is a great idea and you're going to show some interest in booking, the more you can show now, the easier and quicker that I'll go ahead and get this confirmed and completely set up, start taking deposits and locking it in. All right. One last thing. So we got 2 boats right now. No, guess what? We got a 3rd.
We do.
We do. Mr. Brandon O'Neill. So if there's any group trips, all right, we can take up to probably 9. I don't like to take 3 men on my boat, but we'll do it. Yeah. So, if you've got a group, you got 6 men, 8, 9 men, we can handle it. And 3 boats can take, like I said, 9 men. I'd do it. I'd do it for them.
Yeah, we could do it.
It's a little crowded out there in the heat, but 3 boats for the trips. Come on. Let's do Falcon.
Hey, I think July's going to fill up first.
It ought to.
It's
before. It's before August,
Yeah.
so I sure hope it does.
It's going to fill up fast.
Right on, guys. I was going to produce it for the second 2 weeks of July, depending on the feedback we get from you guys. If you're ready to go, you say so. We're going to get there for probably all of July. I'm going to be happy to do that. It's going to be hard to leave Fork because they're going to be eating a Santone jig like I love, but I'm just going to roll right down there and throw the same old Santone jig. So start to ramble just a little bit, man. Wes, I'm going to keep it short tonight. I've been kind of under the weather, and that's why I'm not going to give you any topic tonight. I do have product of the week, Santone football jig. It's already started, and it ain't going to stop. Thank you, Santone, for all the support you give me. Thanks for all of you that are already using that bait. I had some guys at the Legends tell me they're catching them too, just by listening to what I've said. So, man, awesome day. Yep. Appreciate y'all. I'm Michael McFarland. This is Wes Graham. And this was the McFarland's Corner. Thanks for watching.